The Epstein Files have the potential to save America. A list of rich PDF files is going to save America? What? Let me explain. So I'm going to talk about the arguments and the topics presented in the book The Righteous Mind by Jonathan Haidt. And I've talked about this book before, and it's just because I feel like the topics mentioned are so relevant to the current events, and it just offers a really insightful perspective that it's really interesting to kind of take note of, and it really kind of changed the way I perceive certain things in life. So let's go over a thought experiment that Jonathan Haidt presents early in the book. So imagine there's some guy named Joe. He goes to his butcher and he asks for a chicken carcass. The butcher gives him the chicken carcass, he pays for the chicken carcass, and even tips the butcher for doing such a good job with cleaning it, like feathering it and all those things. He immediately goes home. Then when he arrives home, he closes all the windows, he makes sure that no one is in the house, and then he violates it. What? Did Joe do anything wrong? I mean, technically he didn't steal, he didn't kill anything, he didn't traumatize anyone. I mean, like, technically speaking, Joe should be in the clear, right? He didn't do anything wrong. But I'm sure you felt it, right? I'm sure most of you felt it. Oh my god, what the... that's disgusting. Does this guy have any morals? Ugh, that's horrible. That story, in essence, kind of explains politics in general. A big problem that I touched upon in a previous video is that everyone is different. Specifically, we all have a different set of morals. And it is that conflicting set of morals that actually divides us. Real life isn't like the movies, right? In the movies, there's a villain who's 100% evil, and then there's a good guy, the hero, who's 100% good. But in real life, life just isn't black and white like that. It's not for sure someone is evil and for sure someone is good. When a country is invaded, both sides think that they are morally correct. So it's kind of like, how can both people be right or both people be morally correct and be in conflict? So that's where the problem lies. In many events and situations, both sides could be labeled as both victim and perpetrator based off of what set of morals you follow. And who am I to say that my morals are better than your morals, or his morals, or her morals? I have no right to say that. And if you believe in something really passionately, like that is something fundamental to kind of your set of morals, then it's really hard to see the opposite side. For example, just naming any hot button issues like abortion rights, like immigration, like welfare, right? The list goes on and on. They're all touchy subjects, and surprisingly, there's morality or morality-based reasoning that supports both sides of an argument. You might be thinking, that makes no sense. How is that possible? It's because there's no like universal moral good. It's kind of like the trolley problem, like saving one life over 5 people. If you look at it purely rationally, yeah, one might be better than the other, but we still have trouble doing that. It's because we have that set of morals ingrained in us. And Haidt actually goes over, I keep doing that, frick. And Haidt actually specifies that there's 6 kind of like core moral principles that all these other moral reasonings actually kind of fall into. Care/harm, fairness/cheating, loyalty/betrayal, authority/subversion, sanctity/degradation, and liberty/oppression. If you think about it, all those hot button issues that I listed earlier, the arguments for both sides fall in at least one out of those 6 moral pillar category things. And at this point, you're probably thinking, well, I mean, like, I believe in X, and it's so morally justified that I don't see how anyone can believe otherwise. And you might be thinking that because you don't see it, but that could also be because you're weighing one moral principle over another by a lot. Whereas someone else who's on the opposite side might be weighing a different moral principle over that specific moral principle. And it might be difficult to see when you're really passionate about something, but let's just go over a example of something that maybe you're not so passionate about. So in the book, Haidt actually gives this example. So is it okay for a man to eat fish with another person's wife? If you're American, you're probably like, oh, I mean, yeah, what's wrong with that? No, nothing wrong with that. But in an Indian city called Bhubaneswar, in this culture, splitting a fish with another man's wife isn't morally appropriate because it violates social norms of that culture. And in the same way that Like there's certain things that we can't do, as in the example before with the chicken. Those violate our social norms. And you might be thinking, well, that example is way too like out of pocket. That's probably like some like I've never heard of that culture ever, right? Well, here's another one, right? For example, do you call your parents by their first name? Some people do, but there's no way in hell that I would ever do that. But I accept that some people do, and like that's not in their moral like code, right? And in this case, that moral pillar would actually be the authority pillar, because you see your parents as an authority. But in the same vein as that Buddhist culture, I have no right to say that your set of morals is wrong, right? I can't be like, how dare you call your parents by their first name, because that's your set of morals, and this is my set of morals, right? I should not be imposing my set of morals on you. At the end of the day, it's your right to believe that it's okay for you to call your parents by their first name, and it's also my right to believe that it's not okay for me to call my parents by their first name. Who am I to say that my set of morals is right and your set of morals is wrong? But you know what isn't a touchy subject that I'm pretty sure that all Americans can agree on? Pedophiles that got away with it just because they have power or are rich doesn't really sit well with anyone. It sounds like pure evil, and the fact that it still isn't released shows that the evil isn't Democrat only or Republican only, right? It's on both sides, right? We had Biden, we had Trump. In both cases, those files were not released. It's those Epstein files that show you that evil isn't like party specific. It isn't only Democrats or it isn't only Republicans. It's somehow infiltrated both parties, where both sides are protecting the people that are actively just PDF files just because they're rich or powerful. Not to mention like the other things, right? Like taking bribes, lobbying, congressional trading. That's a thing. If you didn't know, there's actually multiple Congress stock trackers, most famously Nancy Pelosi, where they track the stock trades of these congressmen and congresswomen because of how well and how much better they do compared to the market. I wonder why. I wonder why. It's not like they do anything in their line of work that may or may not affect the economy or companies in general. But rant aside, the Epstein files may have created a common interest between both parties, right? Uniting both parties and just all people in America to enforce a rule of law such that such behavior isn't allowed no matter how rich and powerful you are. That ridiculous list of PDF files, hopefully, in my opinion, might even initiate a changing of the guards in favor of a group of people who aren't purposely causing infighting and labeling the other Americans as enemies of the state or enemies from within, or just like immoral, whatever word you want to use, trash, whatever, I don't know, whatever word people have been using to maintain power. And I'm not singling any party. Both parties do it. The left is always calling the right like morally absent, and the right is also equally calling the left completely ridiculous, morally absent, and all those things, right? Scum, trash of the earth, vermin, right? You've heard all those words, all those terms. And honestly, after this entire Epstein file debacle, I can't wait for that changing of the guards. This is crazy. And it might seem like I'm just trying to show this book, but honestly, I really like the book. I feel like it offers such a unique insight and also unique perspective, and it really does show you that like everyone has their own like moral compass, right? No one has the right to label anyone else's moral compass as wrong, right? I mean, okay, so I'm sure that there's like some people's moral compass that are just invalid, right? But like on the grand scheme of things, I say like 99.999% of people, right, they're just trying to do good, acting on their own equally valid moral compass, and live in a way that fulfills that equally valid moral compass. And everyone's just trying to get by life and just do good. I really recommend The Righteous Mind by Jonathan Haidt. Honestly, like, it sounds like I'm shilling, but like you just go to a library, right? Just look for it at your library or whatever. It's such a good read. Alright, bye.